but this was specifically sent to us to be assessed. So this has been customized by our client. So let's kind of take a look at what they have used to comply with the requirements stated prior, okay? Here we go again. Hello again, PCQI, and welcome back to the channel. We are doing an SQF review on a program about premises and equipment maintenance. Okay, so this is sent to us for us to take a look at. Like I do with all of our SQF review format, I am not including the particular SQF module and their codes. In the event something change. So if you're using this as a guidelines, please just use it for point of reference. It's not specific to the codes that are disclosed in this particular program. So if you need more information, please visit sqf.com or sqfi.com for more information on their guidelines. But let's begin, okay? So the purpose of this is to implement the following methods. So I'm just going to read off of them. The methods and responsibility for the maintenance and repair of the plant, equipment, and buildings shall be documented, planned, and implemented in a manner that minimizes the risk of the product, packaging, or equipment contamination. Routine maintenance of plant and equipment of any food processing, handling, or storage area shall be performed according to a maintenance control schedule and recorded. The maintenance schedule shall be prepared to cover building, equipment, and other areas of the premises critical to the maintenance of product safety. Failures of plant and equipment in any food processing, handling, or storage area shall be documented, reviewed, and their repair incorporated into the maintenance control schedule. Maintenance staff and contractors shall comply with the site's personnel and process hygiene requirements. And then it refers you to the code. All maintenance and other engineering contractors required to work on site shall be trained in the site's food safety and hygiene procedures, or shall be escorted at all times until their work is completed. Site supervisor shall be notified when maintenance or repairs are to be taken in any processing, handling, or storage area. The maintenance supervisor and the site supervisor shall be informed of if any repairs or maintenance pose a potential threat to product safety. For example, pieces of electrical wire, damaged light fittings, and loose overhead fittings. When possible, maintenance is to be conducted outside the processing times. Temporary repairs where required shall not be pose a food safety risk and shall be included in the cleaning program. There shall be a plan in place to address completion of temporary repairs to ensure they do not become permanent solutions. Maintenance staff and contractors shall remove all tools and debris from any maintenance activity once it has been completed and inform the area supervisor and maintenance supervisor so appropriate hygiene and sanitation can be completed and a pre-operational inspection conducted prior to the commencement of site operation. Equipment located over a product or product conveyor shall be lubricated with food-grade lubricants and their use controlled to minimize the contaminant of the product. Paint used in a food handling or contact zone shall be suitable for use and in good condition and shall not be used on any product contact surfaces. Okay? So now this was sent to us. I know we've had some other videos as well about maintenance program, but this was specifically sent to us to be assessed. So this has been customized by our client. So let's kind of take a look at what they have used to comply with the requirements stated prior, okay? So the maintenance activity, so they have a preventive maintenance program. So in this part, they actually have a separate GMP. I guess this is part of it. So they are referring the auditor to go to that particular GMP version. They've also included here the responsibility of the maintenance manager for planning and executing the maintenance plan. The preventive maintenance procedure says the following activities are included in the preventive maintenance checklist, and they actually name the the name of the software that they're using for maintenance. So they're not, they're not having a binders or sheets of paper and things like that. They're actually using a software. And by the way, if you need a preventive maintenance software, kindly let us know or visit itblaster.net. That's our software division, where you can actually take a look at some of the software being developed that you can customize. So if you're looking to save some money in developing software, visit itblaster.net or give us a contact and we will get you set up. Okay. So at this part, they actually put some particular procedures, and let me read some of those to you. At the beginning of each week, refer to the preventive maintenance checklist to schedule the maintenance to be performed that week. So they have a weekly check, and then they have a daily check for pre-ops and operational report, which is to be filled by the QA, and they will inform maintenance of the tasks need to be performed if need be. They also have a monthly and bi-monthly task listed on the preventive maintenance checklist or the software once you print it out. And they've identified their quarterly checks as well and annual checks. On the annual checks, they have some refrigeration equipment. You have a lot of contractors that are above the roof or the facility. And basically, they have their own annual checks for those particular systems. And they put a provision on here about contractors signing the rules and confidentiality agreement annually. So I guess they have some particular equipment that are very proprietary for their process, and they want their contractors and service providers to sign those off. And then they have roof inspection on the roof for the fans, intake filters, as well as HVAC systems up there. Employees are encouraged to report problems they notice to their supervisor or QA department, so they have a notification procedure. Notification occurs when potential risk to product is evident through maintenance report in food processing area. They are also covering work orders, which will be created by the software, work order management system, and they've stated how to use that. Now, in this particular part of the program, sometimes it's nice to see where you actually have an SOP of how to use the software, with the arrows and simple instructions or work instructions and whatnot. Those are nice to have, and we actually prepare those. So when you have somebody new or there's an upgrade in the system, you can actually track those training or competency of your team. Maintenance issues which are related to maintaining food safety will be treated as high priority by the maintenance personnel. Other requirements to ensure food safety are, so these are the actual particular now for the maintenance person. All tools must be maintained in a sanitary manner, cleaned daily, and removed when repairs complete by both maintenance and employee contractors. Now on this part right here, what I would like to be added, as a PCQI, it's also designating certain tools for a certain process. So the tools are not crossing over from one zone or another, because it doesn't really actually tell me if the tools, who knows, we might have some plumbing issues somewhere in the building that was used for plumbing purposes, and then those similar tools are now being utilized to fix a production line tool. So be aware of that, okay? GMPs and food safety hygiene must be followed by both maintenance employees and contractors. Maintenance procedure that pose no risk to product safety and integrity are followed. Maintenance of equipment or building structure must be completed in a manner that does not pose a risk to product materials, including packaging materials or equipment. Now, on this one, what I would like to see added, sometimes when I'm on site and we're doing a deep dive audit with the client, they're doing some tenants improvement. There's some preparation. You should have some protocol if you're gonna update a certain part of the building or the facility, of utilizing certain divider or plastic sheathing and things like that. covering your aisles, covering exposed materials, or moving them out of the way. It'll be nice for you, as a PCQI to take a look at those processes and make sure they are, implemented and whatnot. Or they are, they're part of your SOPs, okay? Temporary fixes such as wire, tape, string, etc. is not permitted, so they're covering the requirement that we just read previously. Equipment must be clean, washed, and inspected by QA prior to use, so that's nice. So they have some control there. Paint must be suitable for use and not used in food contact surfaces. So they do allow paint, right? It's just not all stainless steel, so I'm assuming that they have some equipment that are actually painted or probably powder coated, and whatnot, but they are not allowing it on food contact surfaces, so that's nice to see. New equipment that is not used on regular basis, and or equipment that is kept out of the production area needs to be, now this is nice, okay? So as a PCQI, pay attention to this. So if you have an equipment that's not being used, they're labeling it, right? It's properly covered. It's properly cleaned and sanitized before going back into service. So they actually have a signage on it. Basically, let's say it's out of repair, or it could be for disposal. And then they have a tag on it, basically saying it is clean and sanitized, performed by, verified by, and then also calibrated. So there's a verbiage on the tag that says, calibration is due, yes or no, prior to use. So if it's yes, and then they have the calibration protocol or calibration verbiage to be performed prior to reactivating that piece of equipment. So that's nice, okay? So that's a very great practice, good on these guys. The oil and grease that is used on food contact surfaces for plant maintenance and equipment purposes must be food grade. Very cool. Okay, so food grade and non-food grade grease must be labeled and stored separately in a sanitary manner. So they put that on there. Now, sometimes these instructions are a little bit too general. It's nice to have clean SOPs to actually tells you where things need to be stored and whatnot. With that being said, you just have them stored separately in a sanitary manner. That could be, it could be anything, right? So it'll be nice to just actually put them in, chemical room and whatnot, and put them back. Once the preventive maintenance task has been completed, all relevant information or unusual findings will be recorded in the software work order management system. If there was nothing unusual to report, then simply update the date and the maintenance was performed. Okay. Maintenance staff and service contractor engaged to complete work in food production areas observes all personnel and process hygiene requirements. That's a given, right? Then they actually also include the service contractors. I know I've been mentioning it while I was reviewing this. Service contractors are provided with protective clothing as required, and repairs are completed following the same requirement that maintenance staff observes. Okay, perfect. So you have a service contractor, so they must abide by, right, the maintenance department procedures. Okay, so it's the same thing. So they listed the items for the service contractors, similar to what we just reviewed. So they're following the same hygiene, same tool control. That's good. Same thing with foreign objects. Basically, clean up after yourself. And then they added a provision here for the plant supervisor to basically do the inspection for the cleanup measures. And make sure there are no tools left behind by the contractor or any foreign material. So that's great. That's great to see that they actually identified that there. Next one, supplier, staff, maintenance personnel, and service contractors adhere to the correct procedures when completing maintenance on all equipment. Now that is a very good point, because sometimes you have your equipment and you have your maintenance manual, a contractor comes out and they have a different set of upgrades and whatnot. So if that is the case, you're going to want to communicate that with the supervisors, because you might have to update your manuals that you have on record. So now you had a change, or maybe a particular procedure in breaking things down because the equipment had been upgraded, things like that. So certain step might have moved, so or been moved around. So you're gonna want to basically record those changes. So then when the contractor leaves and your maintenance team comes in and start performing, they're not actually breaking the equipment, right? Because of the steps. If it was ABC and they're doing it as CAB, and then we have an issue. All right. Let's go back. As part of the maintenance procedure, repaired equipment is inspected for missing parts, nuts, bolts, springs prior to use. That's very good. So you have some integrity check, for that. Obviously, a contractor goes there and disassembles an equipment. Make sure all the parts went back, were installed again, right? So to prevent a mishap. So reporting and completing repairs and cleaning the equipment after repairs, maintenance staff and service contractor will report completed repairs to the maintenance manager. Very nice. So they have a designated person, and cleaning of completed equipment are reported to the sanitation supervisor or the sanitation manager. Very good follow through on this program. Where machinery that exists over product lines or food contact surfaces requires lubrication, only food grade lubricants are used. Now, on this part right here, I would like to add, excess. Sometimes, they just go in and they just pump all that, food grade grease on there, and it's just oozing out. So, if you are putting this as a PCQI and you're paying attention to your food grade, put a verbiage on there to make sure you wipe that off and remove that excess. Because during pre-ops, believe it or not, I've seen agency audit. I've walked through USDA facilities where the investigator looks at it and basically ex-nate the line, saying you got too much grease, it could fall into the product. The way the grease points are pointed out. So that would then give you an NC for that for that part of it. So as a PCQI, take a look at your program and address those excesses. And then it talks about the paint again. It kind of went back to that, stating that the paint is not used on food contact surfaces. And then they have, on this maintenance program, they actually included the chemicals and lubricant controls, for the facility. And let me kind of look at those really quick. All chemicals or lubricant must be securely stored during periods of non-use in a place separate from all other products in the warehouse. No chemicals or lubricant can be stored on the floor. Perfect. Must be sealed in a leak-proof container. Any leaking container must be removed and legally disposed of. So that's kind of nice. They actually put legally disposed of for regulatory requirement of disposal of chemicals. All containers of chemicals must be labeled and used for intended purposes. Now, on the disposal, let me touch back real quick. So, as a PCQI, take a look at those process of disposal. Obviously, there's going to be some instructions of how to do that. So make sure you have those handy, just in case, and then go over it with maintenance, or they probably already know, but make sure those are documented, because you're going to have some issues on the environmental part of that. Should that be deemed critical, by an investigator or by an auditor. All chemicals must be listed in the USDA list of proprietary substances and non-food compounds, or SDS, MSDS, must be on file, listing of the safe uses of the chemicals stored. So as you can see, they refer to USDA. So this is a USDA facility. So they are audited at a minimum weekly or in a daily process. Under this program, you must report to your supervisor of any violation, unsafe or unauthorized use or storage of chemicals which could directly or indirectly cause product to become contaminated. So they have some reporting there as well. All grease cartridges are food grade, so they're declaring that. And also the lubricants and the guns are stored inside labeled clean containers. Only food grade lubricants are to be used in the processing area. So it's all of the food grade verbiage on this particular section. So I'm not going to bore you with that. Let's go to facility repairs. Same thing. They're using the work order software, and they're actually putting the target date on these type of repairs for their schedule. So during an audit, normally what happens is when you have an auditor that's walking around and they see a sign or they see something that is in dire need of a repair, they're going to start asking questions if that particular area is being neglected. So then you can fall back to this during an audit and actually show those particular required tenants improvements or facility improvement that they are already on schedule. Okay, and then the next part is on equipment repairs and maintenance and servicing during production. So obviously things happen during production where an equipment happens when maintenance comes in, and they have to don new PPE and doing all of those practices, and then going in, now they're part of productions. And really, for me, I'm looking at them as, cross-contamination, because I don't know where they were, if they were on top of the building one day, or they're under a forklift fixing something. Now they're in my production area, then I need to start looking at that process. So they actually put that in here of what they need, for that process. Now this particular facility, they have designated toolkits. So that's kind of nice. So they have a designated toolkits in this particular area where everything is clean and sanitized, is signed off by the sanitation supervisor, where they go in and all those common tools that they need to make adjustments on calibrated equipment or simple maintenance are readily available and clean and sanitized. So they just really have to go through their PPE, personal hygiene and hand washing program and things like that. So there's no cross-contamination from one point to the other. Let's see if there is something here for clean out of place or maintain out of place. They have a monthly preventive maintenance overview activities that are logged. Nice to see. They have temporary repairs that adheres to GMPs, and the permanent solutions are disclosed. So if we've talked about that schedule, so it kind of went back to that. Maintenance tools are put back to where they got them, and basically they need to be sanitized for the next process. But I didn't see a provision here for the tools once you work on them in one area. So it's something that we need to add. I see the provision that they got to be clean and sanitized, but during production you don't have your sanitation controls in place in the production, because you got open products. Now you're going to have chemicals or sanitizer sprays on whatnot or disinfectant. So I might have to take a look at that, work with our PCQI and on the PCQI in the field, and kind of identify those tools being taken out out of that production once they are soiled, and perform the sanitation, and then get the sanitation or a QA or QC at this point. Normally sanitation will be coming in at night. Sometimes they might have somebody trained by sanitation that's part of production. So I don't know that. So or I don't have that information, so I can't really comment on it until I have a further discussion. All right. So now they like any program, I like seeing review action items. So they've actually identified those. So our PCQI on the field actually put some of the QA audit review that he or she is going to be checking for us to make sure this is in compliance. So she's going to check. There's a planned maintenance schedule as part of her review. The maintenance schedule includes critical equipment and areas of the site. There are maintenance procedures that include food safety issues. Planned maintenance schedule is being followed. That's very important. Maintenance procedure afford no risk to product safety and integrity. Maintenance procedure are known by maintenance personnel and contractors. maintenance procedure are being followed. Maintenance procedure include food safety and hygiene practices. Preventive maintenance activities are documented. Plant and equipment failures are documented. Maintenance schedule is adjusted for plant and equipment failures. Operating staff and supervisors are notified when repairs are made and completed. All tools, parts, and debris are removed from repair areas. Sanitation activity occurs after maintenance repair in food processing areas. Notification occurs when potential risk to product is evident through maintenance activities or breakdowns. Food grade lubricant are used in the contact zone, conveyors, and all motors over food contact surfaces. So that's kind of a minimum. Typically, when you're doing a food grade lubricant, they kind of just use that on that entire process, so they don't miss it. Not unless it's in the warehouse, obviously, right? Because food grade lubricants are more expensive. So food grade lubricant is used sparingly and does not come into contact with food product materials or food contact surfaces. So we kind of touched on that for, over greasing, some grease points. Paint is not used on product contact surfaces. Maintenance records are available and complete. All right. So reference documents. Okay. So this is one part I like when I'm working with a PCQI that's putting their own program together to interconnect, interlink all of their forms that are related to this particular program. So during an audit, it's easy to follow those. So in this part, they have put on the plan maintenance schedule, the maintenance procedures, the training materials references, the food safety and hygiene training references, and the registers, and they also pointed out the software. So during an audit, if I'm looking for a register, they can actually point me out to the software on the preventive maintenance software that they're using. Applicable SSOPs within this programs that are applicable, like the tools and other SSOP post maintenance, right? The food grade lubricant register, obviously for their chemical control, as well as maintenance records. And lastly, obviously they have the reference, or second to the last, I should say, they have the reference on the SQF code. And like I said, PCQ, I apologize, I don't normally add those codes because standards change all the time, and and I don't want to be misquoted on some of these reviews, so forgive me. If you need more information on SQF, please visit their website. And lastly, they have the history section of this document for their document control management tracking of what are the revision numbers and the revision date, the description of the change. In this case, I'm going to make several changes, an addition recommendation on this program because it's been requested for us to do kind of an audit on this. Now, I've skipped a lot of stuff here because of the proprietary info on our client side. So, but let me end it there, and thank you once again, PCQI, for joining this segment, and I look forward to working with you. And if you need any information, let me know. info@consultorinc.com. Have a great day. Bye for now. Contact us, and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks again, PCQIs. Have a good one.